You can buy any car you want. Mechanics can't. Not because of money, because they've seen what's under the skin, and what they've seen changes everything about what they'll park in their own driveway. I spent weeks pulling service records, forum threads from actual working technicians, and warranty claim data to answer one question. Which luxury cars do the people who fix them for a living refuse to own themselves? The answer isn't what you'd guess from the showroom floor. It's not about badges or horsepower. It's about what happens at year 4 when the warranty clock runs out and the real bill shows up. Here's the thing nobody tells you at the dealership. The technician doing your pre-delivery inspection and the technician who will be diagnosing your check engine light in year 6 are looking at two completely different cars. One is brand new, covered, and effortless. The other is out of warranty, unpredictable, and billed by the hour. Mechanics live in that second world every single day, and it shapes what they're willing to risk with their own money in a way no brochure ever will. Here are 5 luxury cars that mechanics will happily service and never ever buy. Number 1. The Range Rover. Start with the electrical architecture, because that's where most Range Rover horror stories begin. This isn't a car with a few sensors. It's a rolling network of modules that all have to talk to each other perfectly, all the time. And when one of them goes quiet, strange things start happening. Dash warnings for systems that are fine, air suspension that decides to sit on one corner, infotainment screens that reboot mid-drive. Technicians who spent real hours under these things describe electrical gremlins that can eat a full day of diagnostic work just to find, before a single part gets replaced. Then there's the air suspension itself, factory standard on almost every trim, and it rides beautifully when it works. But air springs and compressors are wear items, not lifetime parts. And on a Range Rover, replacing a full set isn't a $100 fix. Mechanics who own Land Rovers tend to own the older, simpler ones, not because they don't respect the modern Range Rover's capability, but because they know exactly what a check engine light means on this platform. Not check, but budget. Add in the timing chain and oil leak patterns that show up disproportionately in shop bays on these engines, and you get a car that's genuinely excellent to drive and genuinely exhausting to own past the warranty window. That combination, brilliant on the road, brutal in the shop, is exactly the profile mechanics avoid personally, even while they keep fixing them for customers who love the badge more than they fear the bill. And it's not just the big ticket items. Talk to shops that do volume work on these and they'll bring up the small stuff too. Door handle actuators that fail in cold weather, sunroof drainage that clogs and floods the electronics below, sensors for systems most owners don't even know exist until a warning light appears. None of these individually are dramatic. Stacked together across a 5-year ownership window, they turn into a pattern that experienced technicians recognize instantly. A car engineered for capability first and long-term serviceability a distant second. Number 2. The Jaguar XJ. This one hurts a little because on paper, the XJ is one of the most underrated luxury sedans ever built. Aluminum body, genuinely gorgeous cabin, a ride quality that punches well above its used price. That's exactly the trap. The XJ depreciates so hard that buyers walk into ownership thinking they got a deal on a car that used to cost 6 figures. Mechanics look at the same listing and see something different. A low price tag on a car whose electrical system was never built with long-term reliability as a priority. Jaguar's electronics from this era have a well-documented reputation for intermittent faults, window regulators, climate control modules, the electronic parking brake sticking in ways that turn a half-day job into a full-day fight. None of these failures are individually catastrophic. It's the accumulation that wears people down, and it's the accumulation that technicians have learned to read as a pattern rather than bad luck. There's also the harder truth about parts availability and specialist labor. Jaguar dealer networks are thinner than German luxury brands. Independent shops that know these cars well are rarer, and that scarcity shows up directly in your invoice. A mechanic doesn't just calculate what a part costs, they calculate how long it takes to source it and how many hours of labor it eats once it arrives. On the XJ, that math rarely comes out in the owner's favor after year 5. The air suspension on the XJ deserves its own mention because it's a near-perfect mirror of the Range Rover problem. It rides like nothing else in this price range when the compressor and air springs are healthy, And when they're not, a full corner replacement can rival what buyers paid for the entire car in the first place. Combine that with an aluminum body that requires specialized, often dealer-level repair techniques after even minor collision work, and you get a car where every single system seems engineered to punish anyone who isn't independently wealthy or extremely lucky. Number 3. The Maserati Quattroporte. If there's one entry on this list that mechanics talk about like a cautionary tale, it's this one. The Quattroporte sounds incredible, looks incredible, and drives like the exotic it's trying to be. Because underneath the Italian styling, a lot of the hardware is shared, tuned, and complicated in ways that mirror Ferrari-adjacent engineering. That's not a compliment when it comes time to pay for maintenance. Start with the transmission. Older Quattroporte iterations use a robotized manual gearbox that, when healthy, delivers sharp, aggressive shifts. When it's not healthy, it's one of the most expensive single repairs in the segment, a job that can run into the thousands and sometimes requires specialized programming that most general shops simply aren't equipped to handle. Then factoring routine maintenance costs that dwarf anything from Germany or Japan. Brake jobs, suspension components, even basic service intervals priced at exotic car rates because parts come from an exotic car supply chain. Mechanics who've worked on these describe a simple rule of thumb. Everything on a Quattroporte costs roughly double what the same job costs on a comparable Mercedes or BMW. And that multiplier doesn't shrink as the car ages, it grows, because parts get scarcer and independent expertise gets rarer. It's a car built to be driven, admired, and, according to the people who service it, owned by someone else. There's also the electrical gremlin factor, shared with plenty of Italian exotics. Window switches, climate controls, and infotainment glitches that come and go without a clean pattern, which makes them some of the most time-consuming faults to chase down. Add a timing chain guide wear issue on certain engine variants that, in worst cases, can lead to catastrophic engine damage if ignored, and you start to understand why technicians treat every strange noise on a Quattroporte as a potential 5-figure conversation rather than a minor annoyance. Number 4. The BMW X7. This is the newest and most surprising name on the list, because the X7 doesn't have decades of horror story history behind it yet. What it has instead is complexity stacked on complexity, and mechanics who watch a platform mature tend to get nervous early rather than late. The X7 runs BMW's most advanced air suspension and adaptive chassis systems, layered with driver assist sensors, multiple camera systems, and an electrical architecture dense enough that a single fault code can point to a half-dozen possible causes. The engines themselves, particularly the twin-turbo 6 and 8-cylinder options, are strong performers, but they come with BMW's known pattern of timing chain and valve cover gasket issues appearing well before most owners expect major work. Combine that with run-flat tire costs, adaptive headlight assemblies that cost multiples of a standard unit to replace, and the size and weight that accelerates wear on brakes and suspension bushings, and you get a car whose ownership costs compound the longer you keep it. What really gives mechanics pause is the out-of-warranty repair curve. BMW's complexity is manageable when the manufacturer is footing the bill through year 4 or 5. The moment that coverage ends, the same technicians who've been quietly fixing these under warranty watch the invoices flip from covered claims to 5-figure out-of-pocket repairs. And that's the exact moment most of them decide this is a lease car, not a keep car. Size compounds every one of these problems. This is one of the largest, heaviest vehicles BMW builds, which means more strain on brake components, faster wear on suspension bushings and control arms, and bigger, more expensive tires that need replacing more often than owners expect. Mechanics see the same story play out again and again. An X7 that felt flawless for the first 3 years and then suddenly needs 4 figures of suspension and brake work within months of the warranty ending, all at once, because the components that were quietly wearing out together finally fail together too. And number 5, Mercedes EQ EVs. The final entry is less about a specific failure pattern and more about a systemic uncertainty that makes technicians uneasy. The resale and repair economics of Mercedes' first generation of electric dedicated models. These cars are quiet, quick, and genuinely impressive to drive. But mechanics who work on EVs for a living have started flagging a specific problem. battery pack replacement costs on early EQ models that, in worst-case scenarios, can approach or exceed the value of the used car itself. A math problem that simply doesn't exist on a comparable gas-powered Mercedes. Add to that a still developing independent repair network for high-voltage EV systems, meaning far fewer shops are equipped or certified to work on these packs outside the dealer, which pushes both costs and wait times higher. There's also a depreciation curve unique to first-generation EVs. The technology moves so fast that early adopters watch resale values fall faster than almost any other luxury segment, compounding the risk if something expensive does go wrong. Mechanics who watch this unfold from the service bay aren't anti-EV. Many of them are enthusiasts about where electric drivetrains are headed. They're just not willing to be the ones holding an early, out-of-warranty pack when the depreciation and repair curves cross. There's one more thing worth remembering here. Mechanics aren't telling you these cars are bad. A Range Rover on the trail, a Quattroporte on an open road, an X7 loaded up for a family road trip. These are genuinely special vehicles, and that's exactly why people keep buying them despite everything you just heard. What separates a happy owner from a regretful one usually isn't the car at all. It's whether they went in with a realistic maintenance budget, a relationship with a shop that actually knows the platform, and an exit plan for before the warranty runs out. The owners who do that tend to love these cars for years. The ones who don't are the reason mechanics have these 5 names memorized. Which one of these surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments, and if you want the next video to cover the luxury cars mechanics actually do buy for themselves, let me know below.